empty seats, so you guys might as well come up here and report out.
So we're sitting right there?
Actually, no, I'm sorry, Craig's already up there. Have one of you come up here. All right. John,
You're up, so.
I like this. Always have.
you know, we're gonna stick you in the front row today.
Being 10 o'clock, I'll call to order the Thursday, April 3rd, 2025 meeting of the Criminal Justice Committee. Excuse me. I assume all members have had an opportunity to read the minutes of the previous meeting of March 6th. If so, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
It's moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Excuse me. Finance reports.
You will find your finance reports in your packet. You will see that to date, current revenues are $9,447 with no expenses. So your net remains at $9,447 with a cash fund of just over 124,000.
Questions of the finance report? Hearing none, we will move to the sheriff's report.
Good morning. You should have my report in front of you. I just want to touch on a few things. We are doing well with some recruit deputies at the academy, and hopefully they'll graduate soon, and we will send some more deputies to the academy. Got a few things we'll be celebrating next month, and telecommunicator week is one of them. And along with in May, we have the police memorial and the corrections officer week. So because it comes kind of either before or halfway during our meeting next month, we thought we wanted to get it out there quickly. The question I'm always asked is, when is the Police Memorial Day? And that will be on May 15th at 11 a.m. at Oakwood Cemetery. So if those who are looking to attend, we are all set for that. So other than that, we got a few large projects that or a few projects, I should say. One of them is pretty large. It's the jail booking. We're just about done with that. We have a couple punch list items that we need to complete, but we probably will have that done about mid-April. Anyone who would like a tour, I would be more than happy to give you a tour of the changes and things that were completed down there. And lastly, just remind folks that April 26th is Drug Take Back Day. And so we're normally pretty busy that day out at the hospital, and we will have someone out there. They probably can't fill then Lieutenant Unk's shoes and now Commissioner Unk's shoes when he did it, but Captain Piper does really well out there. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Questions of the sheriff? Thank you, Sheriff. Hearing none, we'll move to the prosecuting attorney.
So just busy as usual. We do still have an open part-time prosecutor position that would be very helpful to have somebody who could assist us to get through some of this busy part of the year. Otherwise, you have my report. I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Questions of the prosecutor? Comments? Very good. Hearing none, we will move down to the public defender's office.
Mike Margosian, Dagger Margosian, prepared to report. He's my chief assistant. Nothing unusual has happened in our office since the last time. Nothing unusual has happened in our office since we were here last. We have had 4 people go up to the CDM conference for continuing legal education. That's a requirement under the MIDC, Michigan Indigent Defense Commission, that we keep up to date and get so many continuing legal education hours. So we're in the process of doing that.
Very good. Questions of public defender? Be a quick meeting. Hearing none. We move now down to emergency management.
So I submitted my report. Just want to touch on a couple of things. The EOC restructure is almost complete. And I would like to actually invite, once it's done, I'll send out an email to all the commissioners, but anybody that would want to come out and look at the EOC as it's restructured, I'll just set up a day and a time. And if you want to come out and look at it, I'll try and make sure we do it probably last week of the month, because I think that week is light on meetings. So should be complete, I'm hoping, by the end of this month. So wanted to just give you an update on that. And then I asked Chief Massengill to come and just give us a brief update on the WABJ building fire and how the drone was utilized in that. And I've also got some drone footage. It was about 4 hours of footage, and I just condensed some, or actually Jen condensed some clips down to about a 4-minute video. So we'll play that video while Chief Massengill gives us a short brief on that incident.
Morning. Morning. So I'm sure everybody knows that we had a fire a couple of weeks ago at the downtown, which was our first major downtown fire in 25 years. And as you'll see, they're playing the video. The drone ended up being something that we'd never used before in Lenawee County on a fire, but it actually helped us to, in my opinion, it assisted us. It was one of the tools that allowed us to save that from being much, much worse, as bad as it was. We have thermal imaging cameras that we can carry into the building, and those have been a great tool, but never before have we been able to see from above to where, staying in the command post, I was able to see this exact video on an iPad that was showing me where the fire was going, how it's progressing, where we were, having success, where we weren't having success. So it was something that we've never been able to use, and to the point of most of the time we have to just cut holes until we find where the fire is or going, because of void spaces we don't know where theirs are because they're covered by drywall or roofing. And instead of having to just randomly cut holes, because a lot of times what happens is when we cut holes, the fire has already, like, we're chasing it as opposed to getting ahead of it. And we try to, but we're not always successful. We're using this technology. We were able to actually see, if you see well, actually right there, you can see it. So from your left, that was where the most fire was. The next building over had a metal roof, so we couldn't see a whole lot with that camera. But if you look up in the corner of 2 buildings over, that has heat building and more than likely fire, where you can see that little triangle of fire, where the fire was jumping on us because of open chases that we didn't know were there. And those were about 12 or 14 foot ceilings that aren't easy to go underneath and pull down without ladders. And we did that. But right there, I actually was on the radio with those firefighters telling them, you need to walk 10 feet forward, 5 feet to the left, cut a hole directly beneath you. And then, I'm not sure if this video shows it, they did that. The heat and gases escaped as opposed to running the rest of that building. They put out what was directly below them, and we were able to stop that fire from progressing from building to building. So it was definitely something that, in my opinion, was a tool. It didn't do the work for us. I mean, it was still a lot of hard work by a lot of firefighters, but it allowed us to see where the fire was heading as opposed to chasing it. So definitely a great tool that we were able to use, and something that my department, and I'm pretty sure some other departments are going to put on their second alarm automatically. Because truthfully, I didn't think about it, even though I'm on the drone team. I've flown for the police department, sheriff's departments multiple times. I was busy. I didn't think about it. One of my firefighters was like, hey, what about the drone? Why didn't I think of that, right? But, so yeah, so you can see actually in this one where they cut the hole, they put the fire out on that building. Now it's showing it from the front side, but now it's black, which means it's cool, or it's very light yellow, which means it's not red. Red is building heat, or the hottest part. So that heat and smoke and everything drew back. They put the fire out from below. They cut a hole in the top. So it was definitely advantageous. And also I actually brought crews to the command post, because normally I'd be like, hey, go inside and tear all the ceiling out until you find the fire. But I could actually see it. And I said, hey, I was like, all right, look at this. This is where I want you to go. This is where the fire's at. And they could actually go inside and go right to that point instead of spending personnel and manpower to find it. We had a good idea where a lot of it was. So any questions from anybody?
Mr. Krasny.
Well, thanks for the update on this. Who is the manufacturer of those drones?
DJI is the one that I flew, or well, I didn't fly it, but the one that we flew that night.
Okay. What was the cause of the fire?
So we don't have a cause yet. What we do as the fire department is try to rule out if it was anything malicious. We didn't find anything malicious. We had Michigan State Police's accelerant dog come in. We had Michigan State Police assist us just to make sure it wasn't anything malicious. And then there's, I believe, 4 or 5 insurance companies who have their own investigators. And we let them duke it out of, as long as it's not anything malicious, then that's our concern.
Because I heard different rumors of the cause of it, and I didn't know the process for that. For just on behalf of our local businesses, it was. Thank you for your work on this.
Yeah, and that's, like I said, more than likely, a lot of times that stuff plays out in the court system. So we stay out of that as much as possible. We just want to make sure it wasn't anything malicious is our thing. So, yep.
Mr. Van Dorn.
I commend you for the work. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. Being in your position some years ago, I can tell you that. I wish we would have had this type of equipment. And also was there 15 alarms at 15 departments?
Yeah, so there was 4 alarms. We have multiple departments built in each alarm. And total with station backfill, which you know how that works, station backfill and that sort of thing. It was 15 departments that participated in some way, shape or form.
What a great master mutual aid plan this county has, and the departments, the working together that we have. It's just phenomenal. So congratulations. I'm not congratulations, but thank you for a job well done, and please thank all of the members on behalf of the county.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of firefighters that put in a lot of hard work, as you know, it takes for something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the program that we use that Chief mentioned, where he was able to watch it real time on the iPad. Myself and Chris were also watching it from home. I was listening to it on the radio, but I was able to watch on my phone at the same time, all that real time footage. So it's a great tool, and as Chief mentioned, they're putting it on their alarm, so it comes automatically now at a certain point on the box alarm, and we've got a couple other departments that are going to do the same. And the other thing to mention is it was quite windy that night. I don't know if you remember that night, but there was storms and there was a lot of stuff going on elsewhere in the county as far as down lines and down trees, and it was really windy. And you notice from that video that drone was totally steady.
Yeah.
So it has a self, mechanism in there that keeps it steady, and so that it's not all jumping all over because of the wind. So, also just want to reiterate that that's just a tool for the firefighters to use. The drone didn't put out the fire. It still takes that manpower to go in and do that. And, I attended the after action meeting with Chief the other night, and even though you can always look back and say there's things we could have done different or better, the key is nobody died, no civilians were injured, no firefighters were injured. They all went home safe that night and the building was saved. So it was a great success. And, you know, it's kudos to Chief Massengill and his crew and the other departments that were involved.
For that next day, but, so the drones, who actually goes, I mean, where's the call come in? How's that work? Does it go to your department?
So my department, manages the drones, purchases of the drones. But if it's, now it's on the box alarm, but if it's not on their box alarm, any incident commander, law enforcement or fire can request the drone from dispatch. Dispatch will send an active alert to all of our pilots. We have 12 licensed pilots.
Okay.
And then they answer on their active alert if they're able to come or not. You know, and it takes two, because you got to have, by law, you got to have a pilot and you got to have a spotter. So, and they'll coordinate, you know, maybe one pilot can go straight to the scene and somebody else is going to pick up the drone and take it to the scene. But that's how that works. So any incident commander can request that. And then we, and mostly Chris, he manages the drone fleet, makes sure maintenance is done on it. Batteries are always charged. Everything's charged. You know, we have a internet puck, a FirstNet puck, because you got to have internet to get that Cape Watch so that we can see the video without having to look over the pilot's shoulder. We have an inverter, so if you're on a scene somewhere where there's no power, clip it to the car battery and we can keep batteries charged. Depending on when those batteries last, about 30 to 45 minutes. And then you gotta change them out. So we've got a bank of batteries so that we've always got batteries charged. So there's a lot of equipment and stuff that goes into that. And then Chris also manages the pilots, make sure that their licenses are up to date. And we also require them to fly so many hours annually, either through training and or real events in order to stay on the team. So just because you have a license doesn't mean that you can stay on the team if you're not getting in your annual hours.
And so those pilots go right to the incident commander and are right with the incident commander at all time. Have you trained with the drones?
So we did bring it a couple months ago to the chiefs meeting and just show them what it can do. We haven't, it's kind of difficult because training with real fire is not as easy as it used to be. Right. And well, but even like to burn a house now for training that we used to do all the time is there's a lot of regulations that don't allow us to do that. So we haven't trained with it yet. Like I said, this was really the first that I know of experience in the county.
It worked very well though.
It did. It worked great. You know, and that was the other thing I was going to cover is talked about being able to watch it remotely because it's broadcast and you have to have the link. But I don't know, it was probably fall. We ended up, I went out on a drone call out. Actually, it was at in Franklin Township that sheriff's department was on, and we ended up at 1 a.m. Sheriff's department ended up finding someone they were looking for. He was running through the woods. And I saw him on a drone. But dispatch was watching the drone video from dispatch. They could see what I was seeing.
Wow.
They were pinging his phone. And then with the drone video, we could actually, I saw him actually running through the woods. I thought it was a deer actually at first. I'm like, oh, that's only 2 legs, not, you know, it was weird because I wasn't expecting it. First time seeing that on a thermal. And I was like, okay, this is, you know, the last place I saw him. They pinged his phone again because dispatch could see what I could see and we could watch the officers actually arrest him. So
Wow.
it was, you know, it's been used on both sides and it's amazing technology that we haven't had before.
I guess. Thank you, Chief.
And the reason for the training is we've got 5 drones in our fleet. So we want to make sure that each pilot can fly all the drones and they have practice on all of them.
Great. Phenomenal.
Mr. Murphy.
I just wanted to comment, as somebody who was downtown that night and was watching the fire take place. And I know I watched a couple of guys get out of the bucket onto the roof and start peeling it back. And I thought, oh my gosh, what are they doing? Because I was waiting for that blowback. And so it's really comforting to know that you had that drone up there that saw that thermal imaging to tell them this is where you can cut open to start releasing some of that gas without putting yourself in danger. And I think we could see that on the video too, where they actually had a hose across the roof and were being able to do that. my question is, and I know this is a what if scenario, but had we not had that drone and had that thermal imaging for you to be able to direct the fire departments with their hoses, what do you think could have happened to that block of buildings?
I mean, it's hard to tell for sure. Do I think it definitely made a difference and improved our ability to fight the fire? Absolutely. I don't know. I mean, our goal was to stop it where it was, but as you see, it was traveling. We had worked and started on a trench cut, which is basically cutting a line from one end of the roof to the other to let the heat and smoke and fire out to try and stop it from continuing. They were working on that, but that's very time intensive and manpower intensive. We very easily could have lost at least those 4 buildings, at least the roof on them. But even on a part of the video, there was on the outside wall, there was like an old air shaft that we could see the heat actually went down to the first floor. And I was able to send crews in there because fire can drop down and we wouldn't have known it until it showed itself as possibly a major fire. And there's all through those old buildings, there's stuff like that, but we were able to send crews in and say, hey, take a look at this, make sure we don't have fire dropping down. So, you know, it could have been a whole lot worse for sure. All right. And I can't guarantee one way or another, but I can tell you, I've never had the ability before to see from above and say, go to this exact point, cut open right here, and we're going to make some progress, you know, and I'll tell you that either way, it's still dangerous. Before we'd put the same people on the roof, we'd do the exact same things. We just wouldn't be able to see basically the heat through the roof. So it allowed us to have that ability.
Okay, thank you.
From fire chief to fire chief, first of all, I give you kudos, did a very good job out there that night. And I also attended your debriefing on Tuesday night, and I thought that went very well until I had to leave for a fire, but that still let us look at everything and talk it out. But then I also want to say, you know, kudos to Craig and what he does with the drone team and you know, we got a good return on the investment on that. And I'm glad to see the drone was put to use. I'm glad you called for it and we could see some return on what it can do.
Thank you for that. And most of those kudos should go to Chris because other than finding the money to purchase the drones, Chris manages the drone team, like I said, and explained earlier. So without Chris doing that, we wouldn't be where we are with our drone team. And I'm very proud of this county's drone team for a rural county of our size to have the fleet we have and the ability to not just for fires, but missing persons or, you know, dangerous persons that are on the loose, and what we've been able to use that drone for over the last couple of years. From the time we started the program with 1 drone to where we are now, I'd put up our drone program against almost anybody other than, you know, maybe somebody like Kent County or Oakland County.
Even the Drain Commission has one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you,
and
Chris.
it's getting to be a normal thing. Like you said, when we have an incident, deploying the drone team is almost automatic for certain incidents. And it's phenomenal because you got that eye in the sky and you can see exactly what you were talking about when you're trying to locate someone. So it helps save lives and it helps with our resources. We still need the people on the ground, don't get me wrong, but
Absolutely.
it's a great tool.
And we've also used it for Overwatch for Rhino. So it's just up in the air while they're doing what they're doing to make sure that they can, got a bird's eye view of the whole scene so they can relay information to the boots on the ground as needed.
Well, again, I just want to say thank you to all of you for keeping Lenawee County at the forefront of what's happening. For those, I hate to mention this because it'll date me here, but Lenawee County had one of the first, if not the first, master mutual aid plan going back some 50 years ago before they even thought about it. And Lenawee County had one. And actually it worked for the hotel fire at the city of Adrian and a number of other fires throughout the county. So thank you for all of you for keeping us at the forefront of what's happening here.
You are dating yourself a bit, talking about the hotel fire.
Yeah. I was
That was a huge fire, by the way. And across the street the other way was Montgomery Ward's, which was another huge fire. So that's a hot quarter.
Yeah.
I think, before I get off this topic, we ought to place some kudos where they belong in addition to the amazing work the firefighters throughout the county did. Wouldn't have those drones had it not been for him. He is the driving force that got those drones for this county. And it wasn't just, hey, here's some drones, you can have them. He had to go out and search for them, had to find them, had to develop the program. So the kudos belong to Craig for initially, at least, for the drone program we have. And then to him for the actual continuance, the training, the operations. So those two guys deserve a great deal for what that program, the drones have done, not just for firefighting. They have saved lives, apprehended criminals, and in this case, obviously, thwarted a fire that could have been much worse. So I really want to commend those two for what they've done in this program.
I also need to give a thanks to that particular drone. We purchased with a donation from the Fire Chiefs Association, as well as a few of our chemical companies. So that was money well spent.
Okay, further question. I'm sorry, Administrator Murphy.
Craig, for the people in the room, how many drones do we have right now?
We have, emergency management has 5. The Drain Commission has 1, and the Sheriff's Department has 1 that they use for accident investigations. And our drone pilots will also fly the accident investigation drone. Now, a number of our pilots are county sheriff's department employees or deputies that will fly for that. But if they're not available, one of our other pilots are trained to fly that for them as well. So total in the county, there's 7.
And if I can say, one of the 5 is actually designed to fly indoors. So it's pretty impressive. That was I thought that was going to be extremely difficult to learn, but the technology is amazing that it actually makes it to where I can even do it. So
Well, in our next on the wish list, our next drone,
It
it will be we want to get an underwater drone.
amazing.
I've talked briefly with the drain commissioner. That could be used for doing dam inspections as well as assist the dive team. Again, it wouldn't take the place of the dive team, just like this drone didn't take the place of firefighters. But while the dive team's down, this underwater drone could also be down looking and might be able to see something to direct the divers to a certain location. So that's on the radar for our next purchase.
Very good. Any further comments, questions?
Thank you again.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, now we'll move to the medical examiner's office.
Hello, everybody. We submitted the report for February for Lenawee and Hillsdale counties. We had 28 cases for Lenawee County, 8 cases in February for Hillsdale County, 12 autopsies for Lenawee, 1 for Hillsdale. So far from January to February 2025, Lenawee and Hillsdale counties have had 61 cases with 30 autopsies. If you want to throw Jackson into the mix, we've had 198 cases and 64 autopsies. So that's within 59 days of work, to kind of put that into perspective. March has been very similar. So of course, we'll submit that report next month. I wanted to let Lenawee County know that we have purchased 2 new carts for the morgue. They were carts made by a manufacturer, company in Jackson County named Lomar. They're stainless steel carts. They will help us when our occupancy is full. It gives us 2 more spaces for storage, cooler storage. I don't know if you noticed, but within our report for February, we have a jurisdictional difference there. You will notice that one of the locations of death is noted as Toledo, Ohio. Well, that is not our jurisdiction, obviously. So medical examiner jurisdiction is determined by where the person passes away. So they could have been in an accident somewhere else, but if they die within our borders, then there are jurisdiction. So why would we have Toledo, Ohio in there? That was simply, we were working with the Lenawee County Health Department and the state health department to retrieve tissue from a gentleman that passed away at one of the hospitals in Toledo, but he was at a local funeral home. So we were contacted by the health department to retrieve tissue from this individual. We had him sent to the morgue and the tissue was retrieved and sent to the state. Actually, they had a courier come and pick it up. So that's why that's on there, because that is unusual. That does not happen very often. So that's why that's there. This week on Tuesday, we did the Addison High School Career Fair, which is always fun. We get fun interactions with the kids, zombie apocalypse type questions and stuff like that. So we have a lot of fun. And we also noticed that the sheriff was present, the health department was present, Addison Fire Department was present. It was fun to watch the kids try on the turnout gear and such. But we always have a good time interacting with students and representing the field of science, medicine, and forensic science. And hopefully we can get some kids engaged in that. Kind of in that same stead, that's done with Lenawee Align, which we are active with. We are planning to do an externship again this summer with Lenawee Align, where we will have a teacher or counselor come work with us for 2 weeks. That's nothing, Lenawee doesn't pay anything out of pocket for that program. And the teachers, or whatever you get, a teacher, I've had each, a teacher and a counselor. So they come and they learn from your work and they can take what they learned back to their students. So it's kind of fun plan as well. We also do quite frequently get inquiry from college students. We do try to help them out when we can. I just was contacted by an Adrian College student who is very interested in forensics, hoping to get into the field of forensics. I'm going to bring her in for an office interview, probably give her a tour of the morgue, and we'll go from there. So just so you know, we are still active in that type of work. I know we've been very busy, December, January, February, very, very busy, high caseload. The investigators keep doing what they do. They do a good job. So I appreciate that. And I have hired a new investigator. Her name's Dawn Robinson. She has EMT fire background. She's on the hot track. She's training very quickly, which I appreciate. So I think she'll be out on her, taking her own call sometime soon. I'm also cross-training our clerical coverage or on-call coverage for the office. Gal, her name's Erin Wood. She's been to the committee meeting before. And she's a Sienna Heights student. We've trained her to cover Adrian office. We are now training her to cover Jackson office. And we're trying to make that flexible so that if we need help, like if we have an extreme caseload in one place or we're bogged down in another place, she can step in and help us out. So I'm looking forward to that. We just started doing that. So that's a new work in progress. And then other than that, I think that's all I needed to let you know. So if anybody has any questions.
Questions of the medical examiner's office, comments? Just a quick question, the tissue that was removed, was that for forensic evaluation or?
It was for public health, a public health concern for a disease.
Very good.
Mhm.
Further questions, comments? Thank you. Hearing none, we will move to the courts.
Good morning. Just want to report out that my colleagues in district court will be hosting an appreciation day for the maintenance and IT department for all of their help during the renovations. That will take place on April 30th. In addition, Heidi is collaborating with the PD's office, Carly specifically, to address the need for assistance for the population with suspended license. They are looking at a program in Royal Oak, and they are hoping to bring that program and model it here in Lenawee County. In addition to that, with juvenile court, I hosted a staff appreciation day for my team last Friday. Was well received, just trying to improve employee morale and, foster team spirit. Speaking of team spirit, the majority of my staff participated in the SCAO collaborative reentry program, and they all learned something, and it was a great experiment. And I hope that it continues to happen in the future because a lot of people learned a lot. And it helped them resonate with what the population we deals with on a regular basis. I think it made it real, eye-opening experience. The only additional thing that I would like to share is that we have a lot of training coming up in the next few months. So there'll probably be an increase in mileage reimbursements and stuff because we gotta train our staff and prepare them for success. So
Very
that's
good.
it from the court.
You have several firemen and ex-firemen here, several cops and ex-cops here. When you refer to the PD, I assume you meant public defender.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, any questions, comments? Hearing none, we'll move, is there somebody to give them Murray Spear Campus? Okay. We have an update on the Robertson Brain Health Program?
Yep, I'm going to just bring this to you every so often. I know we had the biggest discussion here at Criminal Justice a while back on what that program looked like. As you're aware, the Board of Commissioners did approve the pilot program, which includes 2 cohorts. The first cohort, which involves command staff at with law enforcement, the leadership team at Murray Spear Campus, and 3 individuals from the administrator's office. Those first meetings have been set up to take place here at the end of April. And so that program is getting ready to kick off. So we will keep you updated as we go through this program, and we'll let you know when the second cohort will be coming online.
Very good. Any questions, comments? Hearing none. Is there any other business to be brought to this committee? Any other business for the Criminal Justice Committee? Public comment? Now's your chance. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Been moved and supported. During discussion. Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
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 Oh, same sign, motion carries.